Hello, and welcome back to my bed. So, there's always this moment before the stream begins where it's like an intense anticipation. Well, I was feeling that big time today. I know it's a bit late and I don't expect anybody to pop in, but well, maybe I should expect it. But I I just had some things that I wanted to say. I guess I've been feeling a little, you know, not as live streamable lately. So I figured on a day like today, where I'm feeling as I'm feeling, I should stream. Today, the topic is a little bit more, I don't know, serious maybe, thoughtful maybe. Um, Not really sure how to describe, but a general theme today. As the title suggests, the depression of digesting life as it is, a deer head in the closet, and other tales from a Friday. Um, I believe that's the title I settled on. And then on the thumbnail, the short form title is When Your Family Grows Up. And I suppose that means different things to different people, but I suppose I will be thinking about the family unit that I grew up with as a child and this sort of phenomenon of passing the torch, you could say. I went to a birthday party for my little cousin today, and I don't know, I feel like year by year and event by event, things have just grown a little bit different, you know? When you're the adult now and the people in your life are becoming um, older, it's quite a scary thing, actually. So I guess I just kind of wanted to come live stream and just spit some thoughts for you. And to get the thoughts going, we shall read from my journal. That cute Kiki journal that my sister gave me for Christmas or my birthday, whichever one. Got a lot of really pretty art in it too. I love it. Kiki was definitely a favorite growing up. I've always felt a little bit of a Kiki myself. Oh, this one's cute. All right, now that I've shared some cute art with you, look, it's Gigi. All right, she was always my favorite one growing up, or one of my favorites, I suppose. Okay, so here we have an entry from April 29th, 2022. The depression of digesting life as it is. I'm in the thick of it. It's still kicking on its way down, slowly dissolving the feeling. What then? Been swallowing the sadness, giving it a real good taste, breaking it down into pieces, then letting the fuel burn along the way. The eternal resource of mortality. Maybe. Maybe. This sadness that consumes and sparks us, that follows us all through life. I think sometimes, or at least I do, we think that we need to just find some happiness and then we'll just be happy and life will be beautiful and wonderful. And if we could only just feel that way and the things line up and fall into place, then everything will be perfect. No more sadness. But I'm really starting to think that that's not at all the case, and maybe that's obvious. But I think that we all, or at least I have kind of bought into this idea that, I don't know, if you can just do your work, do your shadow work. And then you'll be living the happy life of your dreams, and it's perfect, and everything flows easily, and everything's great. But I'm not so sure anymore that that's really the case, you know? Life is very painful, and it's very scary, and it's very stressful. And I think maybe it's just always that way, and that sucks, and that's scary. And sometimes maybe it feels nicer to just, I don't know, hope for the moment where things will feel all shiny and happy and perfect. But I don't know. I guess I'm digesting the depression of mortality these days in a way that I've never fully been able to before, because I could never fully accept it before, I don't think. But over the last couple of years, I don't know, suppose there's been a lot of death and a lot of destruction, and it's just caused me to take a bit of a different look at the world around me in a lot of different ways. Um, I wanted to talk about this moment, so I'll talk about it now. I had this moment. It was earlier in the year. It was January, maybe February, and I had the mother of all panic attacks one day. I'm not sure what set it off. I can't really recall. All I know is that I was having a really nasty panic attack, like I haven't had one quite that bad in quite a long time. And I was just writhing in this hell zone in my brain. And I had what I described to myself afterwards as like this perfectly godless moment. Now, I'm not sure that I believe in God, really, at least not the classic sense of what we think God is. I think it's possible that there could be some sort of field of etheric energies or something. Maybe that's possible. I mean, I would like it if we could prove that. Now, that would be interesting. If we could prove and measure that, now that would be the stuff, I say. That would be the stuff of the future. That would be the stuff of imagination. That would be the stuff of dreams turned reality. But I guess that I've always had kind of like this, I don't know. Life has been really hard for me. I know maybe it doesn't seem like it because I just seem so happy and yeah. But my life has been really, really hard, actually. It's been very hard and very challenging. And the only thing that has kept me going is this pinprick of just utter stubbornness at the core of my being. Just this angry, stubborn thing that will not give up, combined with, I don't know, some belief in not being totally alone, you know? Even though I suppose I have been most of the time, honestly. But I guess that I've just always kind of felt this, like we're not in it all alone, you know? And that might not be true at all. But while I was going through hell over the past uh, long time, honestly, really most of my life, but the past decade or so in particular have been particularly confusing and crappy. I don't know, there's just something about being raised in a religion that kind of stunts your growth, and then you, like, manage to find your way out of it, and then you have to relearn the entire world, and that's really hard. It's really hard to have to relearn the entire world and go from ideas like, "The world is this wonderful place, and there's life beyond death," to just, "Life sucks and then you die," kind of ideas. That's something my mom always loved to say growing up. Uh, I mean, I suppose it's not wrong. Yeah, well, she says, "Life sucks and then you die." But I have always stubbornly been like, "Maybe life can be wonderful after all." But anyways, back to my godless moment. I had this moment where it really sunk in because even though I've been aware that I'm like, "Look, there's probably not," or at least it seems probably more likely if you look at it from an empirical standpoint, that it just seems unlikely that there's any sort of, I don't know, God or spirit or whatever. It doesn't seem, you can't really prove it in a satisfying to the mind kind of way. It just doesn't, I don't know. You can find things that can prove things to yourself, but you can't, or at least I'm unaware of data points that you can hold up and say, "Aha, God." You know? I don't think that exists. It would be really cool if it did, though. But I had this moment at the beginning of this year where even though I've known that as at least a possibility, even though I spent the last while, on my spiritual journey trying to find what the truth actually is and diving into those ideas, I always had at the back of my mind that, of course, it's a possibility that you just die and there is nothing, and life is suffering and life is pain, and nobody's looking out for you, and you're doing it all alone. And that really sucks. And I had a moment during that panic attack where that idea like sunk into the core of my being. And it was a bad feeling because I can't be doing this alone, man. Have you seen me? Actually, I'm pretty cool. I do a pretty good job with what I have, I think. But I had this moment where I was just like in the middle of this panic attack where I was just like, magic doesn't exist. Nobody's looking out for you. You're just going to die and it could happen at any time. And it was really bad. Like it was a moment of just sheer terror is all I've got to say about that. And after living that moment, I did kind of manage to peel myself out of that pit and find kind of a good balancing point, where regardless of what happens after death, life is life as it is now, and you've got to continue on anyway. So that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing too. And so let's fast forward to today, shall we? So I spent the day kind of running around, grabbing some gifts, picking some things up for my little nephew for his birthday party and for my mother for Mother's Day. I got some flowers and some bath bombs and a cute card. I got some flowers for my grandma too. And I went to my little nephew's 7th birthday family bash. And it was a very different experience today. So I wanted to talk about that. So I walk in and the room was empty, which was not the expectation. I'm usually running a little bit late compared to everyone else. So I'm used to everyone being there, and there's hustle and bustle, and things are going on. And my nan is poking fun at me for being barely on time, if I am barely on time. And I don't know. But today I was early. Yeah. 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 I left late, but I was still early. Isn't that funny how that happens? So I walk in and it's just silence while the TV is going, and I can see that my nan is over there. And normally when I walk in, she would shout something, just be like, who is it? You know? But this time she didn't do that. And I looked over and I could kind of see that she was sleeping. And their dog, Sydney, came over and ran up to me and was like, had a nice moment with Sydney. I was really nervous, actually. I thought that this time the cat, Lucy, who I believe was 19 years old, she recently passed last year. And that was sad, you know. And I was afraid that this time Sydney would be gone as well, because over the holidays, he wasn't doing very well. He was ill and sluggish and not good. But he was doing so much better this time. Facing death, huh? Facing death. Anyway, so I had a nice moment there. It was very nice. And I go over after my moment with Sydney, and I grabs the flowers that I got for her, and I'm like, hi, Nan. And she kind of wakes up and she's a little dazed, you know. And I'm just like, I didn't expect to be the first one here. And she tells me that everyone else went to the park. And I'm like, that makes sense. And it was hard, to be honest. Because, yeah, there was like my nan's got a lot of, she's got a lot of spunk. She's got a lot of zest, maybe a little too much sometimes. So it was just hard to see her, I don't know, not as feisty, I guess. Not as, I don't know, not as angry, to be honest. But I helped her up because she insisted on putting the flowers in a vase. And so it was quite the process getting her up, and I had to really steady her. And I was concerned, you know, because it hasn't really been this bad before. And I went over to the kitchen and I helped set up for dinner, you know. I got the trifle out of the fridge. Now, my nan is British. She actually, her and my mom's siblings, they all immigrated here to America when my mom was a teenager. So I guess on her side of the family, I'm like first gen born American. Well, my nan is British. She still has the accent to this day. And my cousins actually, my aunt actually, I suppose not all of my mom's siblings went to America. My aunt actually stayed in England. And so my cousins grew up there as well. They've since moved, or at least one of them has since moved. The one whose son's birthday it was, in fact. And yeah, he still has his accent too. So it's very fun. It's fun, I think, to have that mix of dialects and knowledge at the table during holidays. And so I got the trifle out of the fridge because it was in this giant bowl. I do not know how she got it in there. My pop must have put it up there, but I was like, this thing was heavy. And it was my job to put the whipped cream on top. Now, if you don't know what trifle is, it's a dessert. It's a layered dessert. It's basically like strawberry jello. You can put things in it, though. My nan usually doesn't. Just, I don't know. Because she thinks it'll just be better that way, that we'll just like it more. But it starts with like a base of jello, like strawberry gelatin, then a layer of vanilla pudding topped with whipped cream. So that's trifle. So I had the task of putting the whipped cream on the trifle. And you know what? I had quite a lot of fun with it. Put the flowers in the vase, help set up the table. And I don't know, it was kind of nice, you know? That idea of like passing the torch, as I said. The scary part is, I don't know, watching how much harder it gets to do things at a certain point, I suppose. And that's really what was sinking in today, unfortunately. And then my mom arrives, you know, we're all at the table setting up for dinner. My mom arrived. She had gotten stuck in traffic and she was there right as dinner was beginning. And I found myself like leaping up to say, "Oh, hold on, Mom, let me go grab a drink for you. Don't worry about going down those stairs. I got it." Because my mom actually, you know, fell and hurt herself and a few years back, and I don't know, ever since it's still been recovering. And I was just really digesting these things, you know, what it means to like age, to, I don't know, to make the life journey. And it's scary. So I guess I wanted to talk about it because I don't know. I wasn't really sure how to process, I suppose. And yeah, it's just such a different experience because I remember, you know, being a little kid and how it was back then, and things have just been slowly shifting, you know, where the older kids are taking over and setting the table and helping with dinner and all of these things. And it's kind of nice in a way, you know, it's kind of nice to say, "Oh, don't worry, you know, I got this." But it's hard and it's scary. It's hard and it's scary too. But while we're talking about the latter end of the aging spectrum, I guess we can jump to the other. Because juxtaposed in this room is my little nephew, almost 7, bright and living in this world, you know. And it was fun, you know, having a party. It's weird, you know. Having a little kid party was weirdly fun. We did gifts. I got him a Pikachu plushie. which he was very enthused about. Like, I did not expect him to be so excited about it, but I got him a Mario and a Luigi plushie for Christmas. So I went to the store and I was like, I have this thing where I just, I get really indecisive and there's so many options and I'm like, what's the best thing? And I said to myself, I was like, you know what, me, go in there. The first thing you see that says, get that. And so that's kind of what happened is the second I saw the Pikachu plushie, I was like, oh, I should get that. I did have a moment where I maybe second guessed a little bit. There was this like Luke Skywalker action figure that I thought was kind of cool. And I know that he had fun with his Spider-Man action figure. So I was like, maybe I should get that. But I'm very glad that I went with the Pikachu, which was my initial gut response. Because then he actually ended up getting a few other Pokemon plushies that were not Pikachu. He might already have a Pikachu plushie, but he doesn't have the one I gave him. But that much, and he was very excited about it. And it was funny because my cousin, when he opened up my present and he laughed, like he was so excited. My cousin just laughed because he knew that he was about to get a bunch of other Pokemon plushies, I'm sure. It was really cute, though. My mom got him this bubble gun. It was a dinosaur bubble gun. And we went out back. And you know what? I played some little kid games today. And I know that I've been talking to you guys about how, like, I don't really know how to have fun anymore. I really don't know. I just kind of think life is just fun in general, but it's not like, yeah, fun, you know? It's just kind of like fun. Yes, I'm truly having fun organizing things in my journal. This is so much fun. Excitement. But I had actual fun today. We played this game where you're supposed to pop the bubbles, and we're supposed to pop 100 bubbles. We weren't really keeping track, but that was the game. And you know what? I got to frolic around the backyard and pop bubbles, and I really enjoyed that. I'm not going to lie. It was really fun. And I got to be the bubble queen, and I got to shower bubbles upon the rest of them as well. So I got a turn for both. Lucky me. Then I helped my cousin or my little nephew play Paper Mario. That was kind of fun. What else did we do? Oh, we played hide and seek. We played Connect 4. I got to tell you about this hide and seek game, though, because this was part of the reason why I even wanted to do this live stream, because I don't know. I just think it's a really funny, cute story and moment in my life. And I wanted to share it. So So he got these walkie-talkies, Mario and Luigi. They're his favorite, especially Luigi. And so Daddy, my cousin, was on his own team, and I was on little nephew's team. He wanted me on his team. I was the favorite today. So I was on his team, and the game was playing hide and seek with walkie-talkies, which I think is kind of an interesting concept. You can hear, you can hear them from the hiding place. And I think that was kind of the idea, is it would be more helpful, but it didn't really exactly, well, he tried, but it was fun, but I thought it would have been more obvious with the walkie-talkies than it actually was, which was interesting. Didn't expect that. But as the story went, my cousin goes to hide, Daddy goes to hide, and we count to 27. I mean, I don't know. My little nephew just was counting, and he got to 27, and he was just like, yep, that's the number, and he just went off. It's really funny. I wonder if 27 is the top number he can count, because he keeps like slowly building up. I don't know. I just thought that was really funny that he's like, 27, all right, let's go. And So we go downstairs because we knew that Daddy was downstairs, and we're just looking through all the rooms, all the closets. It's just peeking. And I was actually like, man, Daddy hid really good. Because it's like he kept talking on the walkie-talkie, but we couldn't hear anything. So you go to the room in the back, okay? We go to the room in the very back. And I'm like, he must be in here. He's got to be in here. He's got to be. And so little nephew is like, maybe he's in the closet. And he's like, open the closet. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I will open the closet. So I reach and I open, and sitting right in the middle of the closet, there's this deer bust, like, those taxidermied deer heads there was just this deer bust sitting right smack dab in the middle of the closet, just staring at me. And I was immediately like, oh, there's a deer in here. And so I'm just transfixed by this deer. And I kind of very lightly, gently, because I thought if he was in there, I would hear him. And I just kind of peeked around the door, and I was like, oh, there's a pile of pillows over there. Never mind that. Well, there's nothing over here. And I'm just like, I'm this deer. I'm just staring at it. Something about it was just striking my soul. And I just look at the deer, and I just say, and I go to my little nephew. I'm like, oh, it looks like he's not in here. Okay, let's keep looking. And he runs off, and I just have this moment with the deer, and I just connect with the spirit of the deer bust. And I reach over, and I just gently pet its nose, and I say, okay, bye, dear. And then I leave. And we were just going around, and we just cannot find my cousin for the life of me. And so finally we're back on the walkie-talkie, and he's like, you guys almost found me. I saw you both. And we were like, I'm like, oh, oh no. That means he must have hidden quite well. And so in the end, he just ended up telling us which room he was in. And I was like, oh. Anyways, that pile of pillows that I just nonchalantly didn't even care about. Anyway, that's where he was. But, I'm glad that my little nephew was a little bugged at me, and I was like, I'm sorry. That was my bad. It was my job to look in the closet. Ugh, utter failure. Anyway, my cousin described the experience from his point of view, though. And he's like saying how he sees me open the door, and he's like, okay, just waiting for me to find him, and he sees me like look over in the direction of the pillows, but I didn't see him. I don't know how I didn't. He was hidden pretty good. He was covered up, to be fair. And he says that he's noticed me look over and just totally not register him at all. As if he were invisible. And then he's like, yeah. And then he says to me, and then you know what Samantha does? He's like, you just reached. He's just sitting in the closet, and I'm here thinking that I'm alone. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, so I'm just sitting in the closet waiting to be discovered, and you just reach over and pet the deer and just close the door and walk away. And I guess he had a really hard time not cracking up at that. And to be fair, I mean, it is very funny. Anyway, I just thought that was a cute story. I probably could have told it in a more with more flair, but it was very cute and I really liked it. And I'm really silly. Sometimes you think you're alone and you're not. uh, so act nicely. Okay. Anyway, I shall wrap this up soon. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm doing the Russian voice right now. Uh, Not a time to be doing Russian voices. Such a shame. Anyway, so I don't know. The day concluded. It was nice. I turned on my favorite shortwave radio program and listened to all the latest on my drive home. And I don't know. I was thinking a lot about the rise and fall of the night, the juxtapositions of life on one end and the other. And seeing that contrast there and seeing myself somewhere in the middle. I guess we never know when our time will come. And that's something that's been on my mind quite a lot lately, to be honest. Oh, that reminds me, actually. I got a poem for you guys. All right. Ow. Oh my gosh. Foot cramp. Okay, I'm going to teach you guys a trick just in case you don't know this. But if you ever get a foot cramp, do that. Hold on. That. Like pull your toes back. Something about it stretches the muscle and really helps. So, like right now, it's still cramping, but it feels a lot better. So, do that. Do it. And last time, my foot fell asleep. What the heck, body? Oh my gosh. All right. Here, just look at this. Just the top part, not the bottom. The bottom's something else that you don't get to know about. Okay, that's a little preview for you guys. I'm going to post that on my Instagram at some point. I just got to create it. Sometimes I really build things up and I just hang on to it. And I'm like, I put too many things in the way, you know, where I make these weird, where I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that it's timed at a certain point, blah, 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 blah. All right, here's this poem I wrote. Always death on the mind, like an Emily Dickinson poem, slant rhyming through the pain. Yeah. Alternatively, I think that's how I'm going to do it. Alternatively, it could read, always death on the mind, like an Emily Dickinson poem, always rhyming through the pain. With the repeated word always. I can't decide though. I think it's better to say slant rhyming through the pain. I always loved Emily Dickinson growing up, but the lady is a little obsessed with death, admittedly. And maybe I have become as well. But I think I'm just digesting the depression of life, digesting the stress of mortality. And you know what? It tastes pretty good. I think I'm getting there. And once I've digested this sucker, boy, can't wait to see where I go from there. Always death on the mind, like an Emily Dickinson poem, slant rhyming through the pain. Bye, everyone.